Bears head coach Matt Nagy is making a huge mistake, and let me tell you what that is. What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Chicago Bears. So if you're a Bears fan, hit that big red subscribe button down below. Make sure to follow me on all my social media platforms, and guys, hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I drop a new video. So, as I mentioned, I believe Matt Nagy is making a huge mistake. So what is that mistake that he's making? Let's talk about it. So what is this monumental mistake that Matt Nagy is making? And that is the decision that he just announced, which is Andy Dalton starting week 1 against the LA Rams. Folks, the more and more I thought about it, the more clear it is for me that this is a big mistake for Matt Nagy. This is a big mistake for Matt Nagy. This is a big mistake for the Bears. This is a big mistake all around. And let me explain. What has been the one reason for why everybody has said, let's wait and let Fields sit? It's so he can develop, correct? That's what everybody said. And even I understood it. And I said, okay, it kind of makes sense. I get it. Let him develop. Cool. I got it. But the more and more I thought about it, the less convinced I got. And really, when we're talking about letting him develop, there's a specific reason also that Matt Nagy and Bears fans, some of them, didn't want Justin Fields to start, which is so he doesn't get killed behind the Bears' patchwork offensive line, right? You don't want your rookie to go out there and throw him to the wolves against Aaron Donald in week 1 against the Rams. And again, I sort of understood it. But folks, I got to tell you, when I'm looking at any decision, I'm weighing the pros and cons. And that con just does not outweigh the pros. It just doesn't. And this might be more to do with Andy Dalton than it does with Justin Fields. See, I don't mind if Justin Fields has to sit behind a guy who at this point is clearly better than him. But that's not the case here. And we have seen it now with our very own eyes. OTAs, training camp, that's one thing, right? That's practice. You're going up against teams. You're not getting your own team. You're not getting tackled. Cool. But in preseason, actual live football, you're getting tackled. We have seen Justin Fields outplay Andy Dalton. And if Justin Fields was able to play with the first team, it wouldn't even be close. And it still wasn't very close. Justin Fields, seeing his play in preseason, has convinced me the Bears should be starting him. But why aren't they starting him? Because Matt Nagy's stubborn. Matt Nagy's stubborn. And folks, remember the pros and cons I told you about? What are the actual pros to starting Andy Dalton? What are they? Because if you're saying we're not winning the Super Bowl with Justin Fields this year in his rookie year 5, we're not winning it with Andy Dalton either. Okay, so you can't get me there. What's the pro for starting Andy Dalton? He's better than Justin Fields? No, he's not. No, he's not. You can't say that at this point. He's not. Even though he's been in the league for years, he's not better than Justin Fields. I can't give you that. I'm sorry. What's the pro to starting Andy Dalton? Again, I can't think of a good one. What's the pro to starting Justin Fields? First and foremost, live reps, right? Experience. So even if the Bears go, literally, I'm just saying 1-16. Let's just say they go 1-17, 1-16, 0-17. You still get a full season of development for Justin Fields. Full season, right? And now by next year, he's way more experienced and he's ready to go. You get a full season of Andy Dalton, and what do you get? Mediocrity. And Justin Fields doesn't get any live reps. And keep in mind, Justin Fields on his rookie deal. That's the time to kind of go all in and spend money around your quarterback on his rookie deal, like the Seahawks did with Russell Wilson, like the Chargers probably going to do with Justin Herbert, right? That's when you have your quarterback for cheap. You can build around him, Patrick Mahomes, get my point? And then you build and spend on the O-line, defense, etc. When the quarterback gets paid, you don't have money to spend on other positions. So that's another pro for starting Justin Fields, is you're accelerating that process. So by year 2, he has a full season under his belt of playing. So that's a pro. All right. Justin Fields actually gives you a chance in every game. Andy Dalton doesn't. Again, I'm not saying the Bears are going to, absolutely destroy and be an incredible team with Justin Fields. They might be a losing team, but at least he gives you a chance in every single game because he's got that X factor. He's got the ability to showcase that Andy Dalton doesn't, right? He doesn't. The mobility that Justin Fields has, the talent, it's not close, folks. So to me, the pros of starting Justin Fields, again, you get ahead in his development for a year. You get a year on his rookie deal of him developing. The X factor of being in every single game. The ability to see if you have that franchise quarterback. Starting Andy Dalton does none of it. And if your reasoning for sitting Justin Fields is you don't want him to get killed behind the offensive line, folks, I got to tell you, there's a lot of good pass rushes we have on the schedule. All right? A lot of good teams. We have a very tough schedule. So eventually Justin Fields is going to have to see him. Even I was on this same boat here. I agreed with that. I'm changing my stance on this because I just feel like you have to play these guys eventually. What, are you just going to sit him every time he plays a good defense? How do you know if he's good at that point? So to me, I get it. You want to, be careful with your rookie quarterback, but you do that when you have somebody who is better than him. If we had a Brett Favre, if we had an Alex Smith who had been in the system for years, like the Chiefs had when they sat Patrick Mahomes, if we had a stable quarterback where Justin Fields doesn't have to start, clearly the incumbent quarterback's the better option, I would agree with you. But it's not. It's Andy Dalton. He is not good. He is garbage. I'm sorry, Andy Dalton isn't good. And to me, that's the problem I have here. That's the problem. Is we're sitting Justin Fields for Andy Dalton? Really? That's the part where it makes no sense. And this is Matt Nagy just being stubborn and saying, I'm going to develop Justin the right way. I know what to do. Well, I can tell you this much. I know for a fact every time the Bears go up against a superior opponent, they're probably going to lose if they're starting Andy Dalton. Week 1, that's the case. They're probably going to lose against the LA Rams. Week 2, Bengals, maybe you got a shot. Week 3, Browns, you're probably going to lose. So that's the thing. With Justin Fields, I think the Bears have a shot in every single game. I really do. So to me, pros and cons, folks. It all comes back down to pros and cons. What is the pro to starting Andy Dalton? I can't think of a single one. But I can think of a lot of pros to starting Justin Fields. And in any decision, you weigh the pros and cons. So what decision are you going to take where you looked at it and you said, okay, if I go this route, there's all these pros. And if I go this route, there's no pros. Oh, I'm going to pick this route. That's essentially what Matt Nagy's doing. So I'm not saying I want to just rush Justin and throw him through wolves, nothing like that. All I'm saying is based off of the circumstances here, what I've seen in preseason, what we've seen from Justin Fields so far, and what we know about Andy Dalton, it makes no sense for the Bears to sit Justin Fields. Not for Andy Dalton, it doesn't. For another quarterback who would be decent, who is respectable, I got it. Not for Andy Dalton. When the Bears signed Andy Dalton, I said it was a mistake. I still stand by it. If we use that $10 million to spend on the offensive line, I would be more happy. Or another position, I'd be happier. I think that $10 million was a waste signing Andy Dalton. I truly do. And if you feel like Justin Fields can't pick up on the signals or he needs to learn the playbook, folks, he can learn it on the field. You can learn it on the field. I'm sorry. That's the part where I'm struggling with this. I really am. I thought I was okay with sitting Justin Fields. I'm not. Not for Andy Dalton, I'm not. Not for Andy Dalton. That's my biggest issue here. And that's why I think Matt Nagy's making a monumental mistake. I think as long as Andy starts, again, we will probably lose to superior teams. And Matt Nagy is just going to learn the hard way that it's going to take him racking up losses. And funny enough, his job will be on the line because he's going to keep racking up losses with Andy Dalton. And then he'll be forced to start Justin Fields. And then he'll start winning games. And then he'll be like, oh man, I should have done this at the start of the season. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen, folks. I already know it. So Matt Nagy's making a big mistake. I hope he changes his mind. He probably won't. We're probably going to see Andy Dalton out there week 1, but I had to let it be known. So let me know what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree? Leave a comment down below as always. Thanks for watching.